So hello, Scott Jaeger,
Hello, Ed.
the Harvestman in real, or should I say industrial music electronics. That's where we are now, right?
Yes, that's where we are.
So what are we looking at today? Because it's been a while since I've seen you at the trade show.
I'm back after 3 years here in beautiful Berlin, Germany. And in the year 2020, I designed quite a lot of hardware, of which I hope to finish this year. First, I've got the Stilson Hammer Mark III, which is a new version of the Stilson Hammer Mark II. There aren't too many differences from the original, but it has gate buttons for each of the tracks, extra gate or CV outputs per track. It has the nice OLED display that all the other Mark III modules have, an improved quantizer. You can back up your sequences to SD card. The song mode and preset chaining is much improved from the Mark II. And most of all, it provides a largely similar experience that you know from the Stilson Hammer Mark II with greater reliability.
So why was the redesign of the Mark III? Is it just to kind of fit in with the other Mark III modules, or?
Partially. The Mark II did have a severe weakness in quickly switching between sequences that were in different banks. And I think the experience is better with the OLED display that provides you immediate feedback of the internal memory state, even though the physical slider position may not represent.
You can at least still see what it's doing, right?
Yeah, I thought the display was a necessary addition.
Okay.
It's much better at chaining patterns together into the song, but it's possible to make more powerful performance gestures with these added features.
Cool.
So the user may develop a more individualized style of playing by selecting from these various interface features.
Cool. So next up, what else have we got? We're looking at these black panel modules, right?
Yeah, all my prototypes in this case have black faceplates. This is the Andre Jr. It is a VCA-based analog low-pass gate circuit with a 2-input mixer and a single output. And then it's got a dual digital envelope generator with a velocity control. So I believe I've already got something patched up here through the sequencer. Let's adjust the envelope so we can clearly hear some note events. So when we modulate the thrust control here, that is controlling the velocity of the sequence. Let's modulate that with an LFO. And then if we patch the envelope over to some other synthesis parameters, we can hear the dynamics of the sequence develop that much more through careful modulation of the envelope's velocity. Now, the most important module that I've brought is the Volkmire's Inferno, seen here in prototype form. This is a granular synthesizer, which is able to load WAV files from an SD card or record from live input, where the playback of the file loaded into memory becomes independent of pitch and playback speed. And then you may further modify how the grains are generated about the playback head. So I'm going to start playing a drum loop that nobody has ever heard before in their life. So we can slow it down. Of course, the pitch shifting is independent. And you can freeze it like that. Modify the grain size. It sound like a drum loop again. There's a feature. All the knobs have alternate functions that are accessed with hotkeys. So for the density control, instead you can modify the turbidity of the sample, in which each generated grain is given a probability to repeat itself in a stutter-like effect, or to take the updated information from the audio buffer. So let's make the drum loop more turbid. Down and give some randomness to the size of the grains. Of the grain generation from the actual playhead position. And then we can decrease the number of grains to give a nice texture. Maybe breakcore wasn't a mistake. And it works well with other material. There's also a diffuser effect with a feedback loop to add moreness to the signal. Scrub through the sample with start endpoint sliders. Everything is externally controllable with assignable CV inputs. There's also trigger inputs for transport control and resetting the sample to sync to external rhythm events. There's also a stereo spread control to adjust the probability of a grain's position within the stereo field.
So where are we storing the samples? Are they stored on SD card? Or?
The samples come from the SD card, or they can be recorded live through the audio input, and the internal memory holds maybe 4 or 5 seconds worth of samples, which you can travel through using the sliders and the speed control.
So when are you hoping to have all these kind of prototypes ready?
Hopefully by the end of the year I'll be ready to produce them in number. Right now I'm working on producing my extensive order backlog of currently existing Mark III modules.
Okay, brilliant. Cool, well Scott, thank you very much for speaking to us. Nice to see you back at the show.
Thank you, Ed. It's really nice to see you again.
Cheers, thank you.